Great. Let's now have that conversation with Ambrose Weda, who's a political analyst and a lawyer, and Gabriel Muduma as well, who's a political analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Checkpoint this evening. Muduma, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Linda. How are you doing in this great rain in Nairobi?
Surely, Muduma, there's no way I can be doing great in this rain. You're well?
I am doing great, by the way.
Weda,
it's
can
good
you
to
hear
have
me?
rain in Nairobi.
I can hear you well, Linda.
How are you? How is Kisumu?
Kisumu is great, raining, cats and dogs, but it's beautiful. Europe. Kisumu is now Europe.
Kisumu is Europe. Okay, hold on, gentlemen. I need us to listen to some sound bites, and then we have a conversation on the BBI voting that happened in the National Assembly. That's going to be our first conversation this evening. And Thursday's vote on the BBI bill at the National Assembly has raised more questions as to whether Deputy President William Ruto has diehard supporters in his hustler movement, or they are mere cheerleaders. His perceived supporters ditched their stand and voted in favor of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020. Just like members of county assemblies, lawmakers in the National Assembly either voted yes, abstained, or failed to participate in the process. Let's take a look at how that voting took place.
I'm not for BBI. Wakati wewe utaiba BBI mkiwa na rais, mtuita mkutano, we shall be there. Wimbo ya watu wengine hatujui. Mimi siko hapo.
But I, Onesimus Kimani Ngonjiri, MP Bahati, I vote yes.
He was... Kwa niaba ya watu wangwana wa Msambweni, napiga kura ya ndio.
Mimi Atibu Abdalla Mashetani, mjumbe wa Lungalunga Kwale County, kwa niaba ya watukufu wa Kwale, napiga kura ya ndio.
Mimi Ahmed Kolosh Muhammad, mjumbe wa Wajia Magharibi, kwa niaba ya watu wangu napiga ndio.
This is totally different from the politics. There were a lot of local political considerations that in the way one voted.
Yeah, lots of justifications on why that vote went that direction. So I want to speak to Ambrose Weda and Gabriel Muduma. Weda, let me begin with you. So 83 members of parliament voted against this bill. But looking at the clips we've just aired, and perhaps you're not in a position to watch some of them, you have Ruto diehards saying, voting yes for this particular bill, and then coming back and saying, look, there was lots of political considerations in this. Talk to me about how that vote in the National Assembly panned out for you.
Thank you so much. Linda, I think there are some people that are not diehard. There are also some people of their own form.
Weda, I am struggling to hear you. Just give me a few minutes. Let's try and fix what issue we have. Meanwhile, Muduma, talk to me about how that voting process went on for you in the National Assembly, and what do you think of the reasoning behind it?
Well, first of all, Linda, you must give it to politicians who always and most of the time listen to the people on the ground, because that's what a smart politician should always do. You know, you listen to your people, because that's where you actually get your powers from. So it is not lost and should not be lost to all of us what the articles, you know, what Article 1 of our Constitution says, you know. Yes, all the sovereign power belongs to the people and how they exercise it through, you know, their elected leaders. So that connection for a smart politician must always be his guiding principle. What the people on the ground are telling you. Now, there are some great goodies that come with BBI, mainly when people are discussing the extra constituencies. Hardly will you find a politician who wants to deny his area of representation, or, you know, his county an extra constituency, an extra constituent. So it will be a little bit off and to an extent foolish if what we are being told that an extra constituency is coming with, you know, the bells and whistles of all that's contained in a constitution, whether it's 100 million per year that you're looking into, whether you're looking for a great development agenda, whether you're looking for your county to get more money. All of this is something that you must weigh against when you are voting for, you know, something like the bill that we saw, the BBI bill in Parliament. So I don't think it's way outstretched, or, you know, somewhere that, or in a place where we can really fight so much when somebody has decided to hear the voice of the people who elected him, and, you know, to vote accordingly. So I am not reading much into it, even though you had some people, you know, like good case in point, Honorable Ngojiri, who, you know, had been boxing BBI since day one. But when, push came to shove, he looked and probably he spoke to the people on the ground, and he was told, my friend, if we are getting extra constituencies, we are getting extra money for you to go against it, you will, answer to us come 2022. So I think more than anything, longevity and, somebody's political career comes first. And I think that's how most of the people voted according to their representatives on the ground.
I don't know. Would you say it was listening to the voice of people or shifting political alliances?
First of all, I would say, it's not about shifting political. Ngojiri Wambogo has come out immediately. He voted. He said, you know what? I have not left Deputy William Ruto's side. I am still with him. But really, what happens is my people were standing to gain. And that's why I'm telling you, Linda, it will go against the grain. If for any smart politician who is not listening to his people and is taking that lifeline, most of the time, smart politicians will always listen to the people who elected them.
Good. Okay, I understand we now have Ambrose Weda from Kisumu. Weda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Linda.
Good. Good to have you as part of the conversation this evening on Checkpoint. So we're having a conversation with Mudhuma on the voting pattern that we saw earlier on during the week in the National Assembly. 83 members of parliament voted against the BBI bill. Mudhuma seems to think, look, there are so many, for some leaders, there was much more to gain from this bill, and they listened to their people, and it has nothing to do with shifting political alliances. What are your thoughts?
Linda, it is not about shifting political alliances. Remember, Honorable William Ruto, sir, has said he's not opposing the bill, they'll support it. So even if they are having qualms, a bad feeling, but he has not come out to say we are in the no camp, we are opposing, so that he uses that as a basis to judge whether people are shifting left, right, and center. In the absence of strong opposition, somebody to pour in money, resources, and to mobilize people, then the MPs are left to make their own individual choices. And how do you look at it? You look at the area where they are going to get more MPs and you say, let me go this way. You look at other areas where Baba has commanded. And then you say, I don't have a problem with Baba. The Rarieda MP just gave a legal opinion as a good lawyer. And the big hammer was on his head. Orengo went crying. I cannot be this, but still went to support. So when there is no strong opposition, when there's no strong formation, you then make your own decisions. Now, these decisions are based on political considerations, self-preservation, community preservation, and all this. So these leaders just made decisions based on what was convenient at that time. If you are voting from lowland, you know Baba would kick you in the head and down there. So you vote direct where he wants. There are also those who are with President Uhuru who knows that is for the bill. So if you joke around, the son of Jomo will hit you hard with a rungu. So that is it. But if the chief chicken seller had put in money, resources, billion tatu, on the road mobilizing people, you would have seen people taking a very strong stand. But now that cannot be, because he also says, okay, fine, bring it on. We will take it as it is and we move on. So you leave MPs, some are saying, oh, we will get more MPs, some are saying we'll get 35% revenue. That is now the basic consideration. But the overlying consideration is where is Baba and where is the president? And do you want to dare them in the absence of a strong person you can stand up behind?
I hear you. The question of whether or not you want to dare party leaders, specifically Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And we saw what happened to Rarieda, Member of Parliament, Otiende Amolo, though he himself says, look, I really doubt this has anything to do with Raila Odinga. But that's a conversation we are having next after this. But Mudhuma, there is concern about this BBI bill. And there's some leaders, and specifically Otiende Amolo, James Orengo, who have raised their concern. They're saying, look, we cannot allow this document to be passed without amendments. From where you sit, Mudhuma, and I know the Speaker of the National Assembly said, we're going to pass this as it is. Are there genuine concerns in this from where you sit?
Well, Linda, there has been people throughout, after reading the document, who came up with a raft of things that they felt needed to be changed. Now, we've been told that there has been typos in the document. At one point, we were told that the county assemblies may have received a different document from the original one and what have you. We were told they were referencing errors and grammatical errors. But, you know, I would have expected the likes of Orengo and Otiende Amolo at some point, I mean, being great and legal minds, that they would have captured these mistakes earlier on. They should have brought these concerns earlier on. Now, listen, and let's be fair on the architects of BBI. This process has actually taken close to 3 years, coming from the backdrop of the 9-point agenda that was agreed upon. You know, the secretariat was made. You had the town hall meetings. You had people going, traversing. You know, do you remember the late Yusuf Haji and his team? They traversed almost the entire country, getting views and what have you. At that particular point, at some point, I'd have hoped our good legal friends would have come out and said, we have a problem with this. And by the way, even at Bomas, when the deputy president was standing and, you know, pointing out to some areas which he thought would raise concern, I'd have expected at that time for them to come out and say, we are having a problem here. But that notwithstanding, I also think, Linda, that most of them at this point may have realized they can raise that concern, fully well knowing that this document, regardless of how they vote, will end up in a referendum. And that's probably why Weda would tell you, and I would kind of agree with him, that it would not, you know, put any self-respecting politician who would want to have a stake in 2022. At this time, you do not want to put a premium in the county assembly or the National Assembly. If there's anything any person would probably want to do against BBI is when it goes to the people during the referendum, because there, Mwananchi will vote either a yes or a no. So anybody wanting to, you know, to bring about issues, they can go to the ground, they can talk to the Mwananchi, and they can say, you know what, depending on how we feel, depending on some of the clauses on this document, it does not favor our region, or it does not favor our county, or what have you. And he can actually push people to reject the document. Do I see that happening? Is there a chance that that may happen? Of course. And right now, probably we may start seeing sides. You know, and people take sides. I would have expected by now, half of the things that are coming out, it is so late in the day, it is so late in the game. I don't see anything changing, you know, coming after what the Speaker of the National Assembly said. So, Linda, at this one, it is heading to the referendum, and whoever has a problem, I think, during what you call the time when you are really going for the civic education of this document, because I believe it will go all the way to the ward level. That is where probably you may see a little bit of tagging back and forth.
Weda, Mudhuma says that, fine, it's okay for Otiende Amolo and James Orengo to raise the concerns they have in the BBI bill, but he says it's a little bit late in the day. Is that a concern that you share? And even as we talk about that, Senate is expected to meet this coming week to deliberate on this BBI bill. They're on record. They're saying, look, our role is not ceremonial. Are they likely, from where you sit, to vote in the same way that the National Assembly voted? And finally, as you look at the numbers and how the numbers panned out, 83 people, I mean 83 members of parliament voting against this particular document, and it's linked to some story that we did. Do you think William Ruto is losing the support that he had in the National Assembly? What does this mean for William Ruto?
First of all, let's get this clear. William Samoei Arap Ruto, the chief chicken seller, has said he's not opposing the BBI. So this support is not being supported, he's losing support. I think there are some people who are yearning to have him opposed so that they can weigh themselves. And as a serious chicken seller would run away from the municipal people who are looking for this ticket. He knows, so he told them, I'm not opposing. I support it. And that came when Honorable Raila had dared people to oppose. So saying that he's losing support is basically looking for a needle in a haystack. That is wrong. Secondly,
Weda,
it is not late.
Hold on, Weda.
Yes.
I know that you're saying this does not mean that he's losing support, but a day after, there was a presser by leader of majority, Junet Mohammed, saying he needs to look at the numbers and know that there may be an impeachment motion against him if he does not toe the line.
No, those people, let me tell you, when it is impeachment, it will be a totally different decision. Let's not call it. When it is about, I want you to look at Hon William Ruto, when there was a no confidence motion against him, when he was Minister for Agriculture. He came out strong. So I think if you are going to think that, oh, because these people who are not supporting BBI or who are supporting BBI and are deemed to be supporters, they voted yes, they voted no, so you bring in an impeachment motion. Try the chicken seller. You will see he'll bring all the savings he has had to preserve himself. And you know, I'm told rumors, I don't know, that occasionally people meet in the toilet in Parliament. So I don't think you should compare how people voted on BBI issue yesterday or the day before compared to an impeachment motion in the National Assembly against Honorable Ruto. He would win that square, whether by buying or eloquence or sympathy or what, that he can dare people. And he will also harvest sympathy very, very easily. Let me answer the question, is it too late in the day to oppose BBI? It is not. The court has yet to completely settle itself on it. And you may wake up one day and you find that a judge has said, that the 5 judges or the 4 judges or the 3 judges have said, hey, there's something wrong here. So that limb is still waiting. The other one, commenting on Honorable Otiende Amolo. Honorable Otiende Amolo served pupillage under me while we were working for Mohammed Nyaoga and Githu Muigai. He is a brilliant person, consummate and far-seeing. I think his opposition on the BBI had something to do with going on record for history, for posterity's sake.
Okay.
Not to win, but to say one day when history is read, they read and say, Honorable Otiende Amolo was here, he said this, and he thought this was wrong, and he said it. That, I think, is the basis upon which he made his remarks and is willing to pay the price. Honorable Orengo tried, but now as age is coming up and the Luo nation are still locked under Honorable Raila, he may not want to be out of Parliament. So he will breathe hot. But when push comes to shove, he'll say, I support.
Okay.
That is the best. But in his conscience, he strongly feels there's a problem. There are areas. BBI is like Githeri. The Luo Githeri mixed with the Kikuyu Githeri. There are beans, there's cabbages, there are maize, and there are also stones in there. So if you choose to look at the stones, you will not eat it. If you choose to look at the maize, you will eat it. So it depends with what exactly you are focusing and zeroing on.
Okay. I was referring to that press briefing that we had with Amos Kimunya and Junet Mohammed. I was hoping we could play that bite so that we can make reference to it as I speak to Gabriel Muthuma. Do we have it? Okay, bite. That was National Assembly leader Amos Kimunya and Junet Mohammed. Yes.
President Uhuru is in charge. Yeah, he has created his partnerships. Yeah, and the Kenyans are with him. Anyone who is defying him is doing so at their own risk, right? And I think that's the message that even Parliament is sending. Yeah, and if people continue defying, even the next steps could also be taken.
Yesterday, what happened in this house has demystified many things. It has demystified many myths that have been going on in this country, which was we have the numbers. Yesterday, people have realized they don't have numbers. They only have maybe telephone numbers of their supporters.
Muduma, Ambrose Wedder seems to think that anyone who comes up with an impeachment motion against William Ruto will get nowhere with it. And when you listen to the sentiments of leader of majority in the National Assembly, Amos Kimunya and Junet Mohammed, they're basically indicating that perhaps this could be heading towards impeaching the deputy president, saying that he does not have the numbers that initially he was perceived to have. What are your thoughts about the impeachment?
Well, Linda, an impeachment, like Weda said, it's a different ballgame altogether at this point. You're looking at the time. First of all, the time is a very critical factor towards BBI. You're looking at a referendum in August. When do you start these impeachment proceedings? How many months will it take? By the way, after August, many politicians will have but 1 year left to start their campaigns. I can guarantee you, come September, November, people will hit the ground running. Others will start heading machinani. People in civil service, people in government will start resigning, going to see whether they can be elected. So first of all, it is not strategic for anybody to come with that motion at this point. The other thing is, where is the time? If you are talking about immediately 2017, if we started speaking about, a motion to remove the deputy president, then that probably could be understood. And maybe you had the time, to really, rally your troops behind and what have you. The other thing, it would go against the spirit of BBI at this point, because BBI is talking about inclusivity. The thing is, even with the 80 something members of parliament who voted against BBI, I think the committee or people within parliament, it is not all lost. When you're looking for them to buy into this great document called the BBI, what you do at this point is try and have them see what you're saying, have them see the benefits of BBI. Most of the time, if you're looking to bring people on board, if you're looking for people to see the greatness of something that you're pushing to sell, let them have a buy-in, bring them closer than pushing them away. And by the way, Linda, if you are going to set up a strategy where the thing is you really want Kenyans to be united, the fact of the matter is you need to even talk to dissenting voices. That is how you win people over to a cause. So I think at this point, the discussion or the agenda of somebody coming to say, oh yeah, there are numbers enough to impeach the person of the deputy president. Yes, they may have the numbers. Yes, there probably could be genuine concerns and say, you know what, he is not towing to the line. Can we push this down? But there's really no time to do it. Right now, everything should center on the referendum and passing BBI. If that actually takes it's taken off the center stage, then we are going to run into problems. We are going to run into pain. Let me tell you what, this is a time where you do not need to chest thump. You have overwhelming support both from the county assemblies and the National Assembly. I've heard a Senate saying that theirs is not to do rubber stamp duties. Trust you what, that is exactly what they are going to do. It does not matter what they vote the document, just like the National Assembly. BBI is heading to the referendum. And if that is what is going to happen, really, Senate at this point, probably they don't have that much of a choice. It is going to the people. So the issue of impeachment, leader at this point, it's not strategic. It's not strategic at all.
You're almost certain that the BBI is heading to a referendum. Weda seems to think. Weda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well, Linda.
So Muduma seems to think that the BBI is headed towards a referendum. You, on the other hand, just a couple of minutes ago, you said, this can end up in the corridors of justice and someone can decide to throw this entire thing out. From where you sit, Weda, is it heading towards a referendum?
Without the court, it will go to the referendum, and without somebody to invest money to oppose it. And I said, Linda, if somebody was to invest 3 billion, this chest thumping and towing the line that some of these people like the UNETs are talking about would not come in. Just imagine where the deputy president says, I am not opposing BBI. Still you have 80 MPs saying no. He has not invested money. He has not invested resources. Other than that, the courts remain the live wire. It can come in, and if it came in, unless there is an overnight sitting in the Court of Appeal, there would be a problem. So, other than those two, it will head to the referendum, and it will be able to be passed. What is worrying me is this culture where some people are already saying, you are towing the line, you are towing the line. We had this sentiment during the real Nyayo days, and some people went to Nyati House, some went to Nyayo House, and some people are trying to bring them. You tow the line. I know my President, Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is not that kind of dictator they are talking about, that you tow the line or you are finished, you are hit. It is this apparent desperation about BBI that some people now want to take it, that it is so bad that if you say no, you will be cut into bits and pieces. BBI has some very good elements in it and a few rough elements. So when some people look at the rough elements, they say, look, let's look at this. They are not supposed to be killed. They are not supposed to be threatened. But in a world where now we have the likes of Junet Mohammed speaking on behalf of the Luo community and chest thumping and shocking and doing that, and you have Honorable Kamunya, he has every right to fear because he was given the job on a platter from zero to where he is, and now leader of majority, and Aden Duale was kicked out. He has a reason to fear. But as our leaders, let them shepherd us as citizens and patriots of the Republic of Kenya, not sheep to be kicked around and threatened and told, should you just have a contrary view, we will hit you and kill you. This country, Kenya, is owned by Jehovah himself. And if you hit us so hard, he will punish you.
Okay. Now that you're talking about contrary opinion, I want us to focus our attention on Rarieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo, who was kicked out of the National Assembly's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and replaced by Raraka lawmaker Tom Kajwang. Otiende, who was serving as vice chairperson of the key committee, is among members of Parliament who have questioned the creation of 17 new constituencies in that particular bill. Let's listen into part of what he had to say in Parliament.
If you read the entirety of this report, where we have identified pitfalls, we have suggested how you overcome them. Now, that is what some people misunderstand and think it is sabotaging the report.
Mudhuma, so Otiende Amolo has been ousted from JLAC. There was an explanation during rounds that coming in from ODM chair John Badi, saying he had threatened to quit as vice chair in a message that he sent to party leader Raila Odinga. And of course, he's on record as well, just saying, I mean, show me the SMS that you're talking about. I did not send any SMS anywhere. But when you look at the timing and his concerns on the BBI bill, what comes to mind?
Well, the addition of 70 constituencies, Linda, if we start from there, have actually raised serious concerns from quite a number of leaders, whether you're looking at it from the county assembly, whether you're looking at it at Parliament and the Senate. And even the people who are coming from some of these counties that they feel they have not gotten additional constituencies. You've had, now it has become a game of numbers. We have more numbers, or we have more, our population is bigger than that one and they've gotten 3 and we have gotten 1, or these people have gotten 2 and we have gotten none. So this is actually a debate that is starting to get heated. I've actually had some 2 members of Parliament who are actually arguing it on another channel, and it was quite heated. You could not even know what the truth actually was. And so I think what I feel probably our good legal mind Otiende Amolo did was probably try to explain that particular scenario, but he may have done it in such a way that people misunderstood him, or he may have actually had a genuine concern where he said, can we look deeper into this issue? either way, I think he's not where he is as the vice chair of JLAC, and somebody else has already taken that seat. You may remember this is not the first time it is happening. The likes of Duale have been removed from House committees. The other people like the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah, Susan Kihika, most of them have been shifted out of these political, or if I may say, House committees, because there was a concern that they were not towing to the line or actually putting down the laid protocols that were being demanded by the top echelons of these parties. And it can be understood. It can be understood in this way, Linda. Any party that supports you to parliament and supports you to get those particular House committees or get into those House committees, there is this push that you must actually be willing and be able to follow what the party says. And if it comes where it reaches that you are unable to perform those functions, then you are removed because it is that party which supported you to getting that position. So it is, again, it is not something that is out of the woods, that it is something foreign. No, it actually does happen because the party says we supported you to this and we expect you. When we say you jump, you jump. It may appear a little bit dictatorial, but let me tell you, Linda, when you sign up to a party, then you sign up to following what majority or the leaders of that particular party want. Sometimes, it appears it's a little bit heavy, and sometimes it appears as if people are being, hamstringed to make robotic destruction, or to take robotic instructions. But when you look at it, if the party sponsors you to these positions, then there you are expected to toe to the line. Yes, I know Weda may not like that towing to the line phase, and sometimes even myself, I don't like it, because at least if you are somebody who has a legal mind or somebody who is an expert in one of the areas, it is always good that you can bring that concern to your party leaders and say, guys, I agree, we can take this position, but why can we also not see whether this one can, strengthen the position that we are taking? So it is good, yes, to have that dialogue, but sometimes when push comes to shove, when you are told, when you are given a command, when you are given a directive, and that directive actually goes on, is actually needed to make a statement, and you don't follow it, then I think the acts fall on you, and we have seen it happen. So I think it's just unfortunate for Otiende Amolo, and probably, this is where you're being told, we don't expect this at this point because the next phase is even harder. So I think there was a time the president came out clearly and said, I think after KICC, when he came and met with the MPs, you remember what he said? He said, if you are going to oppose me, then allow me to work with the people who I feel or who will follow my directives. Okay. Allow me, or sit aside and allow me to work with the people who want to work with. And I think, he laid it bare. If you cannot follow his instructions, then, get out of his way.
Okay, I hear you, and I want to get the sentiments of Ambrose Weda as well. And he did, as you say, Mudhuma, ODM chair, John Mbadi said Otiende was sent to the committee to support BBI position. And now with the issues he's raising, perhaps that position, him being in that position, was no longer tenable. But the interesting bit for me here is that Otiende Amolo is also on record saying he does not think the party leader, Raila Odinga, had anything to do with his ouster from JLAC. And while we're at that, could we also listen in to what happened in Parliament between Otiende Amolo and John Mbadi when that debate was being had in Parliament?
You can have a constitutional amendment that is unconstitutional. Now, what we have done, and professors of law like John Mbadi is saying it's not true, but that is okay because that is your view. I am talking about the law. John Mbadi, you've not stepped in law school, so just allow me.
Tom Joseph Kajwang is joining. He may not be a professor in law, but is the People's Chief Justice, and so is well versed in legal matters.
Weda, what comes to mind looking at the back and forth? Otiende Amolo now out of JLAC. He says he does not think Raila Odinga had anything to do with his ouster from that specific committee.
It is Baba Square. Baba himself the one who gave the order. But not to appear in Luoland, in Rarieda, to have been out of Baba's good books, because here in Luoland we have Baba the Father, Baba the Son, and the Spirit. You are not with him, you are out. I am here as a good example. So he doesn't want to appear to people that he has a problem with Baba, because his opponents will pick up and say, this one Baba has kicked out. Otherwise, it was Baba taking out Honorable Otiende Amolo, a brilliant lawyer. He served under me, I can tell you, he's diligent. He's been replaced by my friend and classmate, Tom Joseph Kajwang, also very brilliant. He also lost his position in the speaker's panel. Again on this Raila's game of chairs. He lost it, so maybe he's being rewarded. Otherwise, Mbadi has no authority to remove him or any other person. And I can tell you what my brother is saying about party positions. They don't swear that they will defend the party. The president swears to defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, the MPs. And when certain actions are being taken, views are expressed for the good of the country, for the good of the speaker. Those views do not necessarily mean you are opposing. You are simply saying, my view is this, let's take this into account. This paranoia that is now coming, we need to pray over it and rebuke it in the name of Jesus, so that free speech that is protected in the Constitution, that the parliamentarians are supposed to uphold, continues to move on. Even when you say something negative and something not right, then they say, oh, no, contrary, we think this way. But now we are getting paranoid about BBI and about anything opposing. And then we are saying party. We elect people basically on some parties. But we don't say they go there and become parrots that they sing. If boss say left, you say hallelujah. Right, you say again, left, hallelujah. No, there are times when you tell the king, king, sir, king, sir, king, sir, this part is unconstitutional if we amended it this way. Can we re-amend it this way to look this way? That's why we have advisors. That's why we have experts. That's why we elect serious, highly educated people. I know Mbadi was in Kabete, a very brilliant lower Kabete, doing commerce when I was doing law. Very brilliant guy. He was there with Moses Kuria. I can tell you they're very brilliant people. But some party leaders can turn you into a zombie. That if you use your mind and you talk and you express views that are sometimes expert views, they will kick you in the wrong parts. Mpaka you can't walk, you can't talk. This culture, we are asking, let it stop. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga did not fight for these spaces, for this freedom of speech so that other people come and impose restrictions. I am pleading with Honorable Raila, I'm pleading with President Uhuru, accept, entertain divergent views even when we are taking positions that we are taking. This country is ours for ourselves, our children, our great-grandchildren. The good book says a good man leaves an inheritance to the children of his children. Now, if you kill the fathers, what will happen? So, tolerate Otiende Amolo, tolerate Honorable Mbadi, tolerate these people as we build, even if you're passing BBI, let it be for all of us. Tolerate even the deputy president. It is one country, one people, loving and serving Jehovah. Otherwise, if Jehovah takes his world, where will you be?
You know, it's interesting that you're having a conversation about Otiende Amolo, because he's not the only one who had misgivings about specifically the constituency, 70 constituencies created in this bill. We also had Senator James Orengo, and we had the statement from Dennis Onyango, the spokesperson of Raila Amolo Odinga, just saying there are no plans to oust him as minority leader. Mudhuma, you have James Orengo and Otiende Amolo raising concerns. You have Otiende Amolo being ousted from the jailer committee. James Orengo sits pretty.
Yeah, I know. You see, again, Wakilweda has said something quite pertinent. You see, tolerance in politics, mainly when you're seeking expert opinion, is quite a noble idea. And, you know, nobility is based upon people who would really give you the platform for you to engage with them and offer that particular piece of advice. It does not hurt when you listen to legal minds or people within a given specific or skilled expertise for them to come and be able to tell you, you know what, this is what is required. If we follow this route, it will be illegal, but we can do it legally. It won't lose any meaning. It may take some time, but it is good to engage at this point, and we can build support around it. So it is not a bad thing. What I'm also against is somebody being told this is what you need to do, and even without thinking or giving it a second thought, you move, to what you're being told, even if you are doing something wrong. And I remember our president at one point said, if you oppose him, and I really liked when he said this, if you oppose him respectfully. And even if you support him respectfully. And this is calling upon, and I wish many politicians would look into it and say, hang on a minute, can I be in a position to be able to bring this expertise opinion and tell my party leader or my deputy party leader that I have a concern here and I feel we should do it the right way. And that particular party listens to you. And I think our rich democracy would grow if we are able to guarantee that space of dialogue, to exist. So, Linda, I think sometimes many politicians, when you rise up to bring a point that is based upon an expert opinion, and they hardly understand what you're trying to raise. Okay. They make it political, and sometimes we lose the entire ball game when we do that. For instance, you saw, it even brought James Orengo to start talking that he's not afraid. He has seen leaders come and go.
Actually, hold on. I actually have that bite. Could we play that bite by James Orengo saying he's not intimidated, he's seen leaders come and go?
Me, I can never be intimidated in my political life. Can never be intimidated. Because I've seen many people come and go. I've seen many powerful people come and go. I've seen presidents come here and go. I have seen people who, on their word, you would leave this house and you'll be locked in the same day. They have come and gone. If my day comes, I'll accept it. If my day comes, I'll accept it. But my conscience, the way I've been brought up, my conscience, I will never sell it.
I will never sell my conscience. Mudhuma, go on.
Yeah, Linda, Senior Counsel Orengo talks about two things. First of all, you've heard him talk about intimidation. Secondly, he's talked about historic relevance, that he has seen powerful people come and go. And not only that, he's talking about people, when you said something in parliament and you walked out, you'll actually be taken to jail or wherever that would be. And he continues to say that when his time comes, he is ready. This is somebody who is telling you, I think I am not ready to sell out what I believe to be true. And sometimes politicians do get this spirit of saying, on this one, I think I will stand my ground. Is this what we are experiencing from Senior Counsel Orengo? Does he, bring his utterances to the table, knowing fully well that they can actually make him lose politically come 2022? Is he willing to really pour everything that he's poured into parliament, into parliament, fully well knowing that, come, next year, things may not actually align properly with him? He has actually been here before. And, at that time when he was out in the cold, it wasn't all that great for him. But is he willing again? Or is that the same, route he's taking to say, on this one, my conscience, because he has mentioned it verbatim, my conscience is not clean. And he did not, and he needs to come out clearly and explain why he feels that his conscience is not well seated pretty when it comes to this matter. Now, Linda, I'll be the first one to admit that this great document, as we call it, the BBI, should actually ensure that we do not create an us versus them. And I know the Deputy President has been, has talked about this time and time before. And I also know the President and Raila, when they came together, the first thing that they talked when they were talking about the 9-point agenda was bringing unity, was ensuring that Kenya is, are glued together. So I think at this point, the one thing, Linda, that we must try and run away from is this chest thumping, because it kind of brings in some element of, you are losers, we are winners. We don't need this at this point. We don't need to create an us versus them. We need to create a united front where we show people that if this is the document that we all agree, this is the beautiful Kenya that we shall have in years to come. That, I told you, Linda, that is how you create people to have a buy-in into what you're selling. Okay. That is the only way we are going to win on this.
I hear you. Weda? Were you able to hear what Muthuma said?
Honorable, yes, I did.
Okay, go on.
Linda, Honorable Orengo is a disillusioned warrior. A warrior that we can lead a battle, but he is highly disillusioned that he has resigned. After the Luo nation shifted to support Honorable Raila wholesale without pay, he is like he has given up and raised his hands up, and he says, if you dare to correct Baba, and he tells his people down on the ground, you are finished. That is what Honorable Orengo is saying. But he's a very courageous person, very brilliant, and very, very visionary. But now you need votes to survive, you need votes to have a voice. And these votes are all in Baba's basket. That is the cause of his disillusionment. Okay. When he was talking about the BBI and certain areas that needs to be looked at, he was talking not only as a lawyer, but as a Kenyan, as somebody who's fought for freedoms in this country. And when you see that you fight for freedom, you are outside. Those who didn't even raise a finger, those who didn't even throw a stone, are the ones leading. They are the ones. Honorable Kibaki came in, he didn't oppose. Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta is in it, they didn't oppose anything except during the constitution, the working draft. So you look at it and it's like he says, these people, you can't help them. So he's saying, I'm also growing old, I'm supposed to have children and grandchildren and so on, and my pension. If I attack, I will be out of parliament. Starting a law firm now is late. You can hear the voice of a disillusioned general.
Okay, Weda, but does it make sense how come he was spared by ODM?
I think Honorable Raila developed cold feet. When word went out that Otiende Amolo was being removed and Honorable Orengo, then the social media was very awash with condemnations against ODM and against Baba, and very many unsavory things were said against Baba. Baba is a smart politician when it comes to dealing with the people, the mob. So he looked at it and said, let me spare Orengo. Secondly, he did not want a situation where these two people combine. They can just combine and land by some 2-3 billion. And since Baba now is also running politics from Karen, it may be difficult to attend funerals and do the propaganda that people buy. So out of that, I think he said, let me separate them. Wacha Otiende anguke kubwa na toache Orengo. That is what I think. Otherwise, I know, and you need to take this to the lake and you'll catch a fish. Baba does not like working with brilliant, intelligent people, especially lawyers. He only works with them because he has no choice. And he has expressed this several times. He would like to work with Honorable Jonat Mohammed and a few others, even brilliant guys like Honbadi. He has ensured now they are zombified. If you take brilliant people like my brother, Professor Nyong'o, he has been zombified until he says, wacha nirudi nyumbani, I make Kisumu Europe. I demolish here and there, make Europe. Otherwise, now if you look at the leadership, the parliamentary leadership from this region, it is no longer the star-studded generals. You find people, I'm sorry to call they forgive me for using these words. Oh, the words Jaramogi Oginga Odinga would have used. Vultures of reaction, charlatans, quislings, people who cannot take any position, cannot do anything. That is why these people are suffering. Tell me any brilliant person who is talking. You go to, we have Honorable Agaloch here, he's not talking. We have people like Mark Nyameta not talking. Having seen how the big rungu came against Otiende Amolo for just making an expert opinion on a constitutional matter which is high on the agenda. Okay. They say, wacha ni nyamaze, because elections are next and Baba can come and, what? Hey. So I also urge Baba, please, allow these other bulls to grow. You never know with the world. Even the Kikuyu nation, they loved Matiba so much, but they didn't do that to Honorable Kibaki. Eventually, Honorable Kibaki, who was touted as General Kagwoya, a coward, became one of our best presidents 10 years. I urge Baba, if Otiende Amolo makes an expression, or Honorable Orengo, don't threaten to remove. Just listen to what they say. If you have a contrary view or you have a political consideration, explain to them, and we move forward. Even this community has to grow other leaders. Okay. Kibaki did not finish Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay. Please, he left him, he is now president. Even you, we also want Otiende Amolo to be president, we want Weda to be president. Usikate what? That's my appeal.
Weda, you as is 2032. Listen, Suna East Member of Parliament Junet Mohammed has just texted in with respect to the initial conversation you are having on BBI voting. And he says, he's focusing on your sentiments, Weda. He says, Otiende Amolo also voted yes. Is BBI a Luo community affair? I was speaking as the minority leader of the National Assembly and not on behalf of Luo community, as Weda is alluding to. Weda?
Linda, our structure is that Baba talks, and then some people can talk on his behalf. So whether you have which title or which one, I have a lot of respect for Junet Mohammed. He's courageous, he's sharp, he's good. I'm only saying, when you cut people like Honorable Otiende Amolo, you cut people like Orengo. Mpaka now, Honorable Orengo is weeping in the Senate. Hey, I'm not a coward. We don't have to reach there. We just have to have structured, respectable, honorable conversations. Even if you are going to vote yes, but you have other things which you want to be considered, you express them. You don't have to look behind your back and say, now I've said this, I don't know what Baba will tweet, I don't know how Junet will attack me. These are the things we are saying. We are praying to Jehovah, the King of Kings. We want tolerance, tolerance. Even the chief chicken seller should be brought in with his chicken. We move as a country, peaceful and growing and prosperous.
Okay, so this is the point where I get Mudhuma to have his final word. Mudhuma, what's your final word?
Linda, two things I'll say. First of all, Weda must be alive to this fact. One is there is the normal, parliament debates that come in, probably a bill, these other bills that you see, where members from different parties or within the same party are able to come out the floor and able to argue their points out. But then there is the party position. These are two different animals. The party position, meaning the party has already decided how they are going. All right. So when you come to the floor of the House and act, even sometimes when you're giving an expert opinion, may actually not be taken. It may actually be taken out of context. So that's why sometimes it is good. And I know many parties do this. I know Jubilee does, and I know to an extent ODM also does. Before you come to the floor of the House, if it's a party position, you've already decided this is how we are voting. Now come to BBI. And this one, Linda, I cannot overemphasize it. There is need now to have what you call civic education before the referendum. I think it is only wise and best, because I know so many people who still do not understand what is going on. They still believe the referendum is this crazy monster that is supposed to do to mess up things for this country. There are those, again, who believe BBI is what we need for this country. So either way, whichever side somebody belongs, there is need for dialogue, and there is also need for civic education. Let us try, let us work hard for us not to ensure that we create two factions of an us versus them. And I think we have to be clear about this, Linda. Really, BBI at this point has not faced, whether you're looking at the county assembly or whether you're looking at the National Assembly, it has really not faced that huge of a resistance. I have really not had, probably you may have, but I've really not had any leader worth the salt of our politics who has come and said, I am so against this document. Of course, I've had one, Martha Karua, who came and said, I'm not going to support this document. But all the rest, they've been saying, if we do this, if we do this, if we do that, then the document is okay. So as we move along, it is good that we create this platform of encouraging people to come out and dialogue. And as we do so, we also ensure that we burn the midnight oil to make sure that civic education reaches to each and every this country.
Good. That's a good place for you to end this. Whether you get the final word.
Thank you, Linda. These party positions that are discussed in the middle of the night or through the night, a party position is discussed at a party parliamentary group meeting where views are expressed and they say this is how we are going to go. If you can support, but you express, you say, yes, I support this motion, but look at this, look at this, look at this. Honorable Otiende Amolo was removed even before voting. Surely that, and it appeared he was not even opposing. He was simply saying as an expert. This is the way we also look at it. And somebody just say, ha, 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 hallelujah, this one we deal with. So I am urging, and I am pleading, and I know the King of Kings requires that we have tolerance. We have tolerance. We tolerate one another. We talk. We reason together as we move. This is our country. God has placed us here for a time. 70 years, more 80, and up to 120. Some will even remove people. I urge our people, let us have tolerance, trusting in Jehovah, that this is his universe, his earth, in its fullness. Therefore, let's not harass others just because they have expressed their views. That is not what Jaramogi fought for. That is what Muliro fought for. They fought for freedom. Freedom of association, freedom of expression. May God bless those who are leading us.
Tolerance, inclusivity, we have to talk to each other. Gabriel Mudhuma and Ambrose Ueda, thank you so much for being part of Checkpoint this evening. And you, the viewer, thank you so much for watching and for being part of this conversation. I'm seeing lots of your tweets. Thank you for tweeting in and for sharing your thoughts on the conversation you are having this evening. Have a good night. I'm Linda Ogutu, our sign language interpreter. At the bottom end of your screen was Meresha Owete.